Before we begin the video, I just want to say that this is a Patreon raffle review requested by Tanner Kapishki. If you too would like your idea for a Media Mementos video to come to life, then consider donating to our Patreon, which has a link in the description below, because sorry, we don't take requests otherwise. Now on to the review already in progress. So this might be seen as a little bit of heresy here, but I don't really like Adam Sandler movies, and I'm not just talking about the modern ones like Blended or Pixels or this. I'm talking about most of his movies in general. I only think that Happy Gilmore is okay, and the only ones I really outright like are The Wedding Singer and Punch Drunk Love. 8 Crazy Nights I watch, but I absolutely hate it. Maybe I'll talk about that some other day on a Guilty Pleasures movie list, but for now, I'll just say that no, I don't think it's good, and I don't think that Billy Madison's good, and I don't think that any of these are very good either. Especially you, Little Nicky. I can't even believe you got made. But the Adam Sandler movie that interests me the most is not one that I like, I must say that. It's one of his lesser known, not hits, but experiences. Click. You remember this movie, right? The one that ripped off that Goosebumps episode? Yeah, Adam Sandler movies that rip off other things isn't really an isolated incident with Pixels. This happened before here. A desperate loser comes across a TV remote that can alter reality, only for it to go horribly wrong at the end with little to no way of fixing it. And yes, I know that Goosebumps didn't come up with a universal TV remote that's actually a universal idea. I'm just saying that with the plot structure being the same, the characters being the same, and even the title being the same, you can kinda see where we're coming from here, right? So, what do I think of Click? Because obviously, according to the title, it's a little bit complicated. Well, I gotta say, Click isn't a movie. It's 2 movies in one. For those who don't know, this movie was kinda controversial at the time because it was more of 2 different experiences stapled together rather than one solid vision. Let me explain. The first 2/3 of Click are basically typical Adam Sandler fare. It's loud, it's annoying, it's crass, and I don't think it's funny. Haha, Adam Sandler likes boobs. Haha, Adam Sandler's character is a weirdo. If you've seen his other movies like The Waterboy or Billy Madison, you basically know what to expect. Only unlike, say, Billy Madison or Happy Gilmore, it's even less intelligent because, yeah, I may think Happy Gilmore's alright, but I won't say it's intelligent, that's for sure. This is about as cerebral as eating tofu, people. And that's all I can really say about it because the hardest thing to review is a bad comedy. How many times can you say this isn't funny before it gets old? Answer, 6. I did the math, I've run the research. But then we get to the last third, and really, this blew me away. So before I go any further, let me explain how I was introduced to Click. I saw the commercials when I was younger and thought it looked stupid, so I avoided it like the plague. However, me and my old roommate Matt decided that we wanted to review movies on a YouTube channel, so we made this short-lived channel called Cinema Surgeons, and guess what? The videos are still up, at least as far as I'm aware. One of the movies we either reviewed or were going to review, I can't really remember, was Click. So we sat down to watch it, we hated the first 2/3, and then we got to the last one, and, well, we were blown away. And I've never been able to forget it since. What happens is that Adam Sandler's character messes with the remote too much and creates this horrible timeline where everything goes wrong. Literally his exact worst nightmare. Every worst possible situation for his family and his friends and just the environment in general. Now, obviously, this could lead to a lot of hilarious situations, right? Well, yeah, on paper and in a well-structured movie because, yeah, even though I don't like the first 2/3 of Click, you would expect it to be a comedy just like the rest. But no, it gets really somber and serious. For the first time, Adam Sandler's character doesn't feel like Adam Sandler doing wacky things. He feels like an honest, hardworking man who took things too far. It kinda reminds me of a Twilight Zone episode where somebody gets something that they really want, they abuse it, and then everything goes to crap. However, unlike the Twilight Zone, this has a happy ending and no real twist. But I will say, Adam Sandler knocks this out of the park. It's not just because of the writing. A lot of people don't know this because he mostly stars in comedy films, but he is a great dramatic actor. My favorite Adam Sandler movie of all is Punch Drunk Love, and that may have a couple jokes here and there, but it's definitely not a comedy. He doesn't feel like a joke or a Jim Carrey knockoff or some guy who screeches here. He feels like a legitimate person that goes through difficult things. Which of course is really impressive considering that the guy he's playing isn't real. This shows that Adam Sandler was kind of typecast throughout his entire career. We've seen this happen with a lot of comedic actors like Jim Carrey. And as Jim Carrey later went on to say, that put him in a very bad headspace. It made him feel very off, let's just say, and I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Sandler felt the exact same way. Though a lot of his movies were hits, how did he feel playing all these characters that were kinda the same? Loud idiots. How did that make people view him, and what did this do to his head? Maybe, just maybe, Adam Sandler went to the directors of Click, or the writers or producers or somebody, and said, hey, I need to change things up. I need to have some dramatic moments here. People need to feel for my character. I can't just be stupid all the time. And this wouldn't be the first time this happened either. I mentioned 8 Crazy Nights in the beginning, and guess what? I'm gonna mention it again. This film was loud, crass, crude, every single thing you could possibly think of when you hear Adam Sandler movie. And because it was animated, they cranked it up to 11. And everybody hated it, in case you can't tell. Yeah, I don't really think this movie has a lot of fans. But one of the things that the movie got a lot of flack for was compromising its vision. Instead of going all out being a crazy comedy, it had some heartfelt moments for a truly awful character. Adam Sandler nailed these moments, I gotta say. The only problem was that his character was written so poorly that you didn't care. So that, combined with the fact that everybody hated the movie, probably didn't do any favors for Sandler's reputation. So Click was probably his way of trying again. And again, he nails it here. I mean, I didn't hate him like I did Davey, but he was just Adam Sandler doing his Adam Sandler impression, so he was kind of middle of the road. But now here, when he showed some different sides to him, yeah, this works. And it also worked for the Academy Awards because this thing got nominated. And it wasn't nominated for this, or this, or this, or this, or this, or this. It was nominated for the last third and nothing else. I'm telling you, Click should have been a drama. It should have been serious all throughout. That way, it might have even won that award, but also, it would have been a more cohesive experience. Think about it. Do you want to sit through an hour of painfully mediocre to bad comedy only to get to something really good at the end? Or do you want to have an hour and a half that's compelling, interesting, and something that you'll never forget? I'd wager that most people would say the latter option's better, which is kinda why Click has fallen into obscurity as of late. Nobody really talks about it except for the odd internet critic here and there. And I guess I'm one of them now. So where do I factor into this? Because after all, the video's called My Complicated Relationship with Adam Sandler's Click. Well, I really like that last third. And I respect Adam Sandler for trying to break his typecasting curse and going for something different. Because every time he did that before, either people ignore it or he puts it in the wrong movie. And the latter happened again here. I really don't like the first 2/3. I think they're pretty painful. They're not the worst, but they're definitely not something I'd ever like to go back to anytime soon. But I can't just go to the last third because I'm missing all the setup. I don't really know who this guy is or his family or what this remote is doing here, so what's the point? To really get the grand scope of this thing and to understand what makes it tick, you have to watch the whole thing, which can be a deal breaker for people that find movies like this annoying, and sadly, I'm one of those people. I don't think it's worth it. On a time perspective alone, it's not worth my time. Sure, the last third is better than the first 2/3 are bad, but I still have to sit through the bad to get to the good. And the bad outnumbers the good by double the amount. And I don't think that Adam Sandler is going to be able to break his typecast anytime soon. It feels like after Click, he kinda gave up. After this, he did the typical Adam Sandler movies, and then he kinda disappeared. Pixels was his last major release, and now he does Netflix movies like The Cobbler, which I did hear was pretty good. Speaking of that film, I did hear that there are some drama aspects in there too, so who knows? Maybe being in a Netflix or streaming service format could do wonders for Sandler so he can reinvent himself. Because as it stands, his theatrical movies kind of all blend together. Not an intentional reference to blended there, that was just, never mind. So maybe I'm right. Maybe Click was some kind of desperate attempt to try to break the Adam Sandler status quo. But it didn't work, because they put it in the wrong movie. If Click was more of a drama, I'm sure people would have eaten it up. But if it was the typical Adam Sandler comedy shtick, I, like most people out there, would probably react the same way. Complete and utter indifference. The only thing is, we wouldn't be nearly as confused as we are now. Click is a lot of things, but consistent is not one of them. Well, folks, thanks for watching the video. What'd you guys think? Have you seen this movie? Do you think it's worth sitting through the first 2/3 to get to the last? Comment below and let me know, because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Real quick, I'd like to thank our Patreon executive producers, Reziel, Leaf Razor, Sophie Burgers, Azarius, Tanner Kapishki, and Michael Bellamy. If you too would like your name read at the end of every Media Mementos video, then consider donating to our Patreon, which has a link in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time!